Winter is well and truly here in the wild west of Ireland, and the Range Rovers are looking decidedly chilly. But despite that, I grabbed this dry afternoon to knock off a few little jobs on the P38. So sit back and relax.
The plan for this weekend was actually to be rust converting and undersealing everything on the L322, but as you can see from the beautiful frost around me, it's far too cold to be doing that kind of job today. Not because I'd be too cold, but the actual products themselves would be too cold. For obvious reasons, you don't really want to be applying paint and underseal type stuff in very low temperatures, so we're going to leave that for now, and I've got a plan to sort that in the near future, so watch this space. But seeing as the sun's out, it seems a shame to waste it, so I thought I would show you a few bits that I've been doing on the Range Rover P38, and maybe we'll get a couple of other little jobs knocked off as well. So you might have noticed in a couple of my videos on the P38 that it's been a little bit reluctant to start sometimes. And I kind of put this down to the fact that I'm not using it daily, I'm not using it even weekly. The car's still off the road and I'm only really starting it every now and again to move it around the yard here. However, I started to think maybe it wasn't just the fact that it wasn't being moved, and maybe there was something I could do to try and improve the starting situation on the Range Rover. So I took a look at the battery terminals. Now this is what the terminals and crimps look like on the P38 when I took them all off. A lot of them were kind of bent and overused, really heavily corroded, and basically just past their best. So what I decided to do was cut all of these off, as you guys can see, and I re-terminated these three main battery feeds here. This one goes to the starter motor, this one goes to the ECU, and this one goes to the main fuse box just here. And I also cleaned up the original earth down here, got that looking nice, put a fresh bolt in it, and then cleaned up the earth point down here on the shock tower, because that was looking really crusty as well. Now, to do these big battery terminals properly and make them really nice and secure, you have to have the right tool. And the one that I use is this Draper Impact kind of battery terminal crimper here. So basically you put your terminal in there, put your wire in it, and then you put it on a solid surface and you whack it with a club hammer. And it makes a really nice crimp job on those battery cables. I've used it loads of times to make my own battery cables up on the 130, and it's always worked perfectly for me. And it's a really good, cheap little tool as well. So I'll put a link down below for Amazon for you guys to check that out. To replace the battery positive terminal, I've got one of these universal ones with a nice stud on top. We're going to be able to put all of our leads over. Much better than the original one, much less likely to break. And then the battery itself, obviously I've cleaned up these terminals best as I can, just using a wire brush. And then in addition to that, I brought it into the house, gave it a full charge on my little Noco 5 amp charger. And then what I did was run a battery repair cycle. I actually ran 2 cycles on this battery, which is supposed to kind of desulfate the battery plates inside and hopefully restore a little bit of the battery's life that's been lost, because I think this is probably a few years old now, this battery. So there we go, not the easiest start, but definitely turning over a lot faster than it was before. So hopefully those battery leads and the battery being repaired have helped a little bit. P38 diesels though are pretty notoriously difficult to start when the weather is cold like this, especially high mileage ones like this. So I think I should definitely order a set of 6 glow plugs for this thing just to help it. You might have noticed me there cycling the ignition on and off a few times just to cycle those glow plugs and trying to get a little bit of heat in there. But for all I know, some of those glow plugs might not be working, so I think probably best to put a full set in there. That should really help it out when it comes to these cold morning starts. Once you start it though, sounds pretty good. So yeah, definite bit of an improvement there. I think what we'll do is, after now it's run for a few minutes, I'll let it cool down for another 10-20 minutes whilst I'm doing some other jobs, and then we'll see how it starts, a kind of like lukewarm start, and see how that feels. But yeah, pretty happy with that. So just a couple more quick little jobs to do to the P38 today. Both of them pretty easy and simple, but both important to the P38 in their own way. And the first one is these. These, of course, are the Headlight wiper blades. one of my favourite features on the P38. The ones on there absolutely disgusting, so we're going to pull them off, pop these new Brit Part ones on. So these look like they basically just pop into position, which that seems to come out very easily. That's what we're taking off. Absolutely disgusting. No rubber left on it. There's our nice new one. Very nice. A little bit stiff there. Isn't that just the coolest feature you've ever seen on a car? I think once I get the brakes sorted on this thing, it's going to be pretty hard to decide which car to daily, this or the L322. The next bits we've got to fit are part of another crucial Range Rover feature, and that is of course the lower tailgate, the split rear tailgate. Definitely need to put some struts on this thing though. So a lot of you guys already pointed this out in previous videos, but she's missing her cables for the lower tailgate, so you can't put any weight on this right now. So let's get them fitted. Now thankfully these guys come with brand new bolts in there as well, and washers and everything, so it should be good to just throw them straight on. And that allows me to do the classic Sam's Motor Machine sitting on the tailgate looking cool pose. It's amazing how much of a difference being able to sit on the tailgate of my Range Rover makes me feel about my Range Rover. It's a really important part of the character of these vehicles. Definitely need some tailgate struts though. Nice. Now while we're back here, I'm going to see if I can do something about this tailgate button that keeps getting stuck in. Basically the spring is broken inside this. Whenever you slam the tailgate, it sends the actuator into a spasm and makes a horrible noise. So we're going to see if we can replace that now. Now for those P38 owners out there that know a little bit about these cars, what I'm about to show you is absolute gold dust when it comes to these cars. This is a complete brand new old stock lock set, including new keys, 4 of them, new barrel, 4 new handles and a new transceiver box there. Extremely hard to find and expensive for the P38, but somehow, don't ask me how, I managed to find a set here in Ireland from basically from an old Land Rover dealership that had closed its doors down and was selling off all their stock. So absolute gold dust. Hopefully at some point we're going to get to fitting this to the P38, so we'll have a brand new set of keys and handles and door locks and everything like that. That's for a job for another day though, because there's quite a bit involved in it. But none of that's important right now. The reason I brought it out is because it actually comes included with a brand new genuine tailgate button there. So that's what we're going to fit now, and it'll be a nice improvement to the P38. Should be a pretty nice easy fit by the looks of this. I'll take this plug out for a start. 2 screws holding it into the tailgate. It looks like now we're meant to twist this round and pull it out, retaining our little seal there, which could actually do with being replaced by the looks of that. Let's see if we can find one of those. But that's the problem with our old one, basically it gets stuck in. give it a knock, it pops back out again, but basically the spring inside is broken. I wonder if there's a seal in that kit as well. Unfortunately not, this is going to have to do for now. Oh, that's nice. That feels really nice to use now. Good, strong spring tension. Ideal. And no more crazy actuator noise. Hey!
So the last job I had to do for the day was just to throw on a set of new wiper blades. The P38 is getting pretty close to being ready for its NCT, which is its Irish MOT, and my next big task is going to be to sort out the leaky, rusty braking system, and then I'll sort the leaky inlet manifold and be able to take her out for a spin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.